Hello you iconic tank boys! How about we feature some scale modeling this time? Well, there's no building phase, but that was very simple anyway. The hull is in one piece and the turret has the metal pieces attached to it. That's what, 7 pieces? So the building phase is not too complicated. Oh yeah, and the model is in 1/100 scale, made by Forged in Battle. So let's start painting. And let's start that with spray painting some base coat. I'll be using some Chantry dust from the Citadel colors. Warhammer players probably know that one. After shaking the bottle a while, we'll give a few test sprays to see that everything is working fine, and then we start to work on the models itself. I'm on my balcony, so the area is well ventilated, so that shouldn't cause issues. I try to keep the burst of spray short and quick, so the paint layer would be thin and wouldn't be covering any details. Okay, everything done from that side, what we're gonna do, and let's work on the other side. The small mouse just got bonked on the head, or would have if it wasn't decapitated before that. Let's continue. Alright, the paint has now dried. And it looks pretty good. Except there are a couple spots which didn't catch paint, like here next to the gun mantlet and side of the turret. So we'll need to fix those next. So we'll grab our brush and some more Chantry dust, this time as an acrylic. And we'll just work on the areas that need more paint. I'm not only painting the area that needs paint, because I'm trying to make the transition between the spray paint and the brush paint smoother. Here's a bit paint for the side firing port of the turret. Mouse likes it when we are brushing its butt. This is how our mouse looks now that everything is in yellow. Then we'll work on the tracks, and we'll start that by painting them black. Right, the tracks are now all black. The road wheels got a little bit black too, but that's okay for this part. The work on the tracks continue as we are dry brushing some Citadel lead belcher on them. This will make the tracks look more metallic while still retaining mostly dark color. The goal is not to completely cover the black paint, but just enough to give a metallic finish. don't use your best brush for the dry brushing technique, since it's pretty harsh for it. Alright, tracks look more metallic now. Then time for the main deal, which is the camouflage pattern. I'm using this camo skin that's available in World of Tanks as a loose baseline what to do, except I have reversed the yellow and green patterns. I'm starting with the green stripes or wiggly lines, and the color I'm using is the Citadel Castellan green. I work with the short strokes, and it's not a problem if the color is too thin, because we can always have multiple layers of it. Alright, I think the front of the vehicle looks good regarding to the green lines. Then we do the same process for the sides of the vehicle. Nothing different there, just a bit more surface to cover. Then let's move on to the top of the vehicle. And we do that by extending already already existing lines. Yes, we're gonna extend those to the engine deck. Imagine being able to talk well. Out of my reach. Alright, the hull is now done. So the next logical step is to work on the turret. So, more wiggly lines incoming. Here I am making small markings on which lines from the hull I want to extend to the turret side. Then it's back at drawing wiggly lines. Sweet, the turret has been wiggled up. Starting to look pretty good already. There are a few spots where the green doesn't completely cover the base coat, but that's fine. We'll make just another layer there, or two. Do you guess what's the next part? It's more wiggly lines. Oh yeah, but this time in brown. I'm gonna use the Rhinox hide, again Citadel colors. So when the people are asking, hey Mouse, how's your day been? And I'm like, oh, the usual. I've been wiggling the wiggly lines in a wiggly way, and they are, oh yeah, that makes sense. Now we can enjoy the results of completely wiggled up hull. Looks good. And surprisingly, we are gonna wiggle up the turret next. Alright, that's looking hunky-dory. All the wiggles have been woggled. For the base plate, we are going to use Steel Legion trap. Obviously, it would be easier to paint the base plate if it wasn't attached to the tank itself, but we have to work what we have. This also covers nicely all the spills we had from painting the tracks. But, a big but, enormous but. The ground looks too light for my taste, so we are gonna do a little mixing up with the Steel Legion trap and Rhinox hide to create a bit darker brown color, but not quite as brown as the stripes on the tank. Well, since we already have brown paint on our brush, we might as well thin it down even further and throw it on the tracks. Kinda like a wash. This will help our course to make the tracks look like the tank has traveled in ground and mud. While we are working on the washes, let's throw some black wash there as well. Yes, one from the Vallejo. We'll throw this into the depressions on the engine deck, which are the engine intake and ventilations and whatnot. This will work nicely as the darkness that's inside the vehicle. And since washes are very thin paints, they really want to go into the all kinds of dents, dips and depressions that are in the model, so it works perfectly for this. And then some wash for smaller divots and dibbidoos. All the turret handling has caused the paint to wear off a little on the top of the hatches, so let's patch that one up and this one. While we are at here, let's put some black paint onto the gun barrel sticking from the side firing ports. And some more lead belcher for the barrels. Now, for the Balkenkreuz, I'm gonna use some masking. I have decals, but I wanna try doing the low visibility version of the cross with only couple white outlines. So hopefully masking will help with that one. Well, my white scarf paint hasn't completely dried out yet, so I'm gonna roll with that one. Alright, the paint has dried. Time to peel off the tapes and enjoy the results. We might have a slight issue here. So the white paint is tearing off the bottom layer of the paint. That's not ideal. Also, it could be related that this is just regular masking tape from a hardware store. So maybe using something that's dedicated or specialized for scale models would work better. Maybe, perhaps, mayhaps. Anyway, lessons learned. I'm just gonna freehand the cross on the other side. Okay, cross has been painted. For highlights, we're gonna mix up some chantry dust and some generic white acrylic paint. We are just gonna dry brush all the raised bits and edges to make them pop out a little bit more. On the hindsight, I should have probably done the highlights a bit stronger, but oh well. It is what it is. Then some weathering. We are gonna use very thin paint and just go streaks from up to down. Well, a little bit sideways maybe. At first it's barely visible, but as we add more layers, it will slowly build up. I'm using black and brown for this purpose. Here's after a couple layers. The effect is starting to show up already, but we'll continue further out. I'll put more brown short strokes to the bottom of the vehicle, because that's where the mud would splatter more. And here I'm putting some marks from the exhaust pipe. For finishing touches, let's add some unit decals. Eventually, there we go. We just need to straighten it up now. Also, let's get rid of the excessive water. Well, before actually call it finished, I decided to give a little bit extra splatter onto the sides of the vehicle. This is to simulate all the splashes that would happen around the vehicle and dirty it up. Now, when we are fully finished, I'm just gonna write down the year in the bottom when it was finished. That's how I usually do with my models. And there we have it. A finished mouse in 1/100th scale. Do you like it? Well, as always, feedback and comments are welcome. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you check out my other videos. A lot of mouse stuff there on this channel. Bye!